Hi, I decided to record a video about managed IT cost because I recently visited a prospect who never had managed IT service provider before, and when I gave a monthly price tag to support his IT, he wasn't sure whether how to gauge whether this is the right number, what to compare it to. So I decided to create this video with some hints. As any research, I'm going to do pull things from multiple sources and kind of compare and evaluate them to see if they provide similar results to understand if it makes sense. So the price that I explain to this prospect and I tell everybody usually varies between $100 and $150 per user per month. Now, this is not per device, this is per user, and the price tag will change depending on various elements. But let's take a look at Google and see what others are charging, what the competition is doing, which is fine. I understand everybody does it. Everybody checks on Google. So the key is to use the right keywords like managed service IT provider or managed IT, because if you search for IT company, it's not really a comparable service. It's like comparing apples to oranges. So let's search for cost of managed IT services. Right away, you can see, if you skip all the ads, you can see that SolarWind MSP, they offer per device system, which is 70 per desktop, 300 per server, 29 per printer, and so forth. If you add things up and consider the fact that some users may have a couple of devices, it will probably be within the same range of $150 per user per month. So this one makes sense. Let's take a look at others. How much do managed IT service cost? These guys are per device as well. They also have ranges. Again, if you add things up, will probably be similar. Let's take a look at something else. IT service is not really a comparable term. How much does MSP cost? Okay, that makes sense. MSP, technology, and this is a different source. This is not SolarWinds or Accent on IT or whatever that is. So they're saying the range is 125 to 175, depending on what it is. Again, what features included, what if CIO is included, and so forth. So that kind of proves, helps you understand that, okay, so these guys are not completely out of their mind. I guess they're in the range. Now, let's take a look and do some math in Excel to see if it makes sense from a different perspective. For example, let's take the high end. So let's take a company size of 10 people. The cost of managed IT, let's take the high end of things and multiply 10 users by 150 price tag. So that's the monthly cost, and the annual cost, let's multiply that by 12, would be that. Format it a little bit. All right, so per year is going to cost $18,000. Now let's compare this with a common spend on technology. Revenue of a company, if you use average assumption, commonly used in estimations like that. There's 10 people, you multiply it by 200,000, the revenue is about $2 million of a company like that. The spend range. Now, how much do companies normally spend? Now, every company is different, I understand, but just to understand a ballpark of what others are doing, let's do research and search for how much should a company spend on technology. Right away, we see tech target research that small businesses use more than larger businesses, and on average 7%. Okay, so that's one source. Let's take a look at some other sources. This is the same thing. So these are related. So these guys are saying it varies between 7 and 2% depending on the type of industry, but the average is 3.8. So let's take the lowest average. We saw 7%, we see 3.28. Let's just use 3% for the sake of this calculation and say the 2 million times 3%, that's about 60,000 a year. So, obviously this includes software and equipment purchased throughout the year. So you can now kind of see that how does this 18 compare, and depending on your other expenses for materials and software, does this make sense or not? We can also look at this from a perspective of how much does it cost to hire an employee, which, IT person for a small business, I mean, how much can you spend? Let's say even $50,000, which is pretty low end because this is not just a help desk. We're trying to find something more useful. And now you're looking, okay, this is a 10 people company. I can hire a person for 50,000, or I can hire these guys for 18. Is this worth my money? Is it worth some of the benefits are you can delegate your tasks. You don't have to worry about security anymore. Productivity of your employees will rise because they're working on machines that are not infected. We would advise if something's getting old or there are any issues and so forth, because we're doing all the maintenance. Now, that's the question you got to ask yourself: is it worth worth the money? But let's assume you're a little bit larger company. Let's say you're 3 times of this size, which means, 3 times, which means all numbers will go up. And let's just copy formatting to make it easier to read. So that becomes a 30 people company. Cost of managed IT is about 54,000. Again, this is using the higher end, 150 per user. Revenue is that per research, average, on average, companies spend about 180 a year on technology, and employee cost will not change, obviously. So now you're comparing, okay, so the company is going to cost me 54, but a full-time employee 50, so it's about the same cost. Is it worth it? Here you have to consider the following things. Will this IT person do proactive maintenance? Chances are this person will be busy running around, putting out fires. So there will be little time left for proactive maintenance. IT team, if you hire an IT team, they have no vacations, no sick days, like an employee would. So there is more efficiency in that. Also, normally a salaried employee in this salary doesn't have as much exposure to business challenges that consultants of an IT firm would. We see new businesses every week. We talk to them about their business processes. We solve their business challenges. We see many different variations of issues. And so we know a lot of technology. Our job is to find the right tag for the right process. So you get all of that for the same price tag that an employee would cost. So that's the question you got to ask yourself: is it worth it? So that's pretty much concludes my video. I think that should give you some idea of what to look for and how to understand whether the cost makes sense or not. Thank you for watching, and I'll look forward to recording some more videos. Thank you.